What if the scariest night of your life was the one that changed everything? I packed my son into a car, ran from a past I could not outrun. New town, tea house, a stranger watching from the shadows next door. And then the storm hit, windows shaking, lights breaking, fear crawling back into my chest. I thought I was in danger again, until the knock came, and the man I feared most became the one who stood between us and everything that tried to break us. But here is the truth I never expected. The real storm was not outside, it was inside me. And what happened that night? With a broken porch light, a hidden fear, and one quiet act of kindness, changed everything I believed about love. Stay with me, because this is not just a story about survival. It is about the moment you stop running and finally let someone. Before we dive into the incredible story, do not forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell button so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it, comments below, and let someone know you are never alone. The road stretched forever, dust rising behind my tired car, like a past refusing to settle. I gripped the wheel tighter, my son asleep in the back, his breath soft, steady, trusting. I wished I felt that same peace. The town appeared suddenly, quiet, white, honest, nothing like the life I left behind. The air smelled different, clean, sharp, almost unfamiliar. I stepped out, legs trembling, heart louder than the wind. This was it. No turning back, no safety net, just me, and a child who deserved more. The house looked smaller up close, paint chipped, porch worn, yet somehow waiting. Then I felt it. Watching, turned, pulse skipping. A man stood by the fence, son behind him, face unreadable. For a moment, my chest tightened, every fear rising at once. Stranger, new place, no protection. My fingers curled instinctively. Then he stepped forward slowly, hands visible, voice calm. Moving in, something shifted. Not safety, not yet, but not danger either. Just possibility. Days pass, boxes half opened, nights too quiet, until a knock came, sharp, unexpected. My heart raced again, same fear, same tension. Opened the door. Marcus stood there, holding a toolbox, and something softer in his eyes. I noticed your steps. They need fixing. I hesitated. Every instinct split in two, trust or protect. Then my son ran past me, laughing, calling out, and Marcus smiled. Not forced, not curious, just warm. Something inside me cracked open, low, careful, like ice meeting sunlight. Days turned into shared mornings, quiet repairs, laughter I had forgotten how to feel. He never rushed, never demanded. He simply stayed, present, steady, kind. And then one evening, the sky turned heavy, wind rising fast, doors slamming. My son cried out. Fear rushed back, sharp, familiar, froze, for a second too long, until Marcus was there, between us and the storm, voice firm, hands gentle. And in that moment, I realized, the thing that scared me most was no longer the past. It was how deeply I was starting to need him, and how much I had to lose again. The wind howled louder, lights flickered, and I stood there, heart wide open, terrified, and finally, alive. The lights flickered again, once, twice, then steadied. But my breath stayed uneven. Marcus moved through the room, checking windows, locking each one with quiet certainty. The storm pressed harder, wind clawing at the walls, like something desperate to get in. My son clung to my side, his small fingers gripping my shirt, his fear echoing mine. Marcus knelt beside him, voice low, steady. You are safe here. Simple words, yet they carried weight. like a promise carved in stone. I watched him, really watched, the way he stayed calm, the way he made space for our fear, without letting it grow. Something inside me softened further, dangerously close to trust. A loud crack split the night. Flinched, heart jumping into my throat. The porch light shattered, glass scattering across the wood outside. For a moment, everything felt too close, too fragile. Marcus stood quickly, his body shifting, protective, instinctive. "I will check it." The words came firm, grounded. I grabbed his sleeve. Before I could think, "Wait," my voice shook, more than I wanted. He paused, looked at me, not annoyed, not surprised, just understanding. "I will be right there with you." The storm howled again, stronger, as if testing us. We stepped onto the porch together, wind pushing hard against us, rain sharp against my skin. The broken light flickered weakly, casting uneven shadows. Then I saw it, branch, heavy, torn loose, resting against the railing. Nothing more. Yet my chest stayed tight, like fear had already decided to stay. Marcus moved it aside, low, controlled. He turned back toward me. Rain soaked his shirt, hair falling across his forehead, and still. His eyes held that same quiet steadiness. "You see," he said gently. "No danger." I nodded, but something deeper stirred. 'Cause the danger had never really been outside. Lived in me, in every memory I carried, in every moment I expected loss. We stepped back inside, closing the door against the storm. Warmth wrapped around us again. Thin, but enough. My son yawned softly, fear fading into sleep. Marcus lingered near the door, as if unsure where he belonged, and that uncertainty hit me harder than the storm ever could. "Stay." The word left my lips before doubt could catch it. He looked at me, searching. I felt exposed. But I held his gaze. Because for the first time, since the road, since the leaving, since everything broke, I wanted someone to stay. Not out of need, but out of something quieter, stronger, something that felt like home. The wind eased slightly outside, its anger softening into a low hum. Marcus stepped closer, slow enough for me to breathe, close enough for me to feel it. That shift again, that fragile, terrifying, beautiful beginning. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the fear, beneath the past, felt it take root. Not loud, not certain, but real, and growing. Even as the storm circled back again, pressing against the windows, testing the strength of everything, including my heart. The wind pressed harder again, a low steady force, testing every seam of the house. Marcus stayed close, not touching, yet near enough to feel. I could hear his breathing, low, anchored, so different from mine. My son slept on the couch, one hand curled near his face, trust returning in soft waves. I watched him, then looked back at Marcus. There was something in his eyes, question, unspoken, careful, as if he understood that one wrong step could send me retreating. A sudden thud echoed from the back of the house, heavy, sharp, unnatural. My body reacted before thought, every muscle tightening. Marcus turned instantly, alert, focused. That came from the shed. His voice stayed calm, but I saw the shift, protective again. "No," said quickly, too quickly. Fear rose fast. Familiar. He studied me, not pushing, not dismissing. Then we checked together. The words landed differently this time. Not control, not assumption, partnership, the kind I had forgotten existed. I grabbed a coat, hands slightly shaking. The back door creaked open, wind slipping in like a warning. Cold air wrapped around us, carrying the scent of wet earth. and something unsettled. We stepped outside. The yard looked different at night. Long shadows stretching, corners deeper than they should be. The shed stood at the far end, door half open, moving with the wind. Creak, creak. Each sound pulled tighter at my chest. I could feel my pulse in my ears. Loud, insistent. Marcus moved ahead slightly, then slowed, matching my pace. Always matching. We reached the door, swung wider. Hollow sound, like breath escaping. We stopped, every instinct screaming, every memory rushing back. Uninvited, unforgiving. Marcus glanced at me. I am here. 3 simple words. Yet they grounded me more than anything else. I stepped forward. Inside, darkness pressed close. Waiting. The smell hit first. Old wood, metal, vein. Then another sound. Tough, fragile, a whimper. My heart twisted. Marcus reached for the light cord. Pulled. A dim bulb flickered alive. And there, curled in the corner, was a small dog, shaking, eyes wide with fear. Tension snapped, replaced by something aching. Gentle. I exhaled. A breath I had been holding for years. Marcus crouched slowly, hand extended, voice softer than before. It is all right. The dog hesitated, then inched forward. Trust. Fragile, but possible. I felt something shift again inside me. Not fear this time. Recognition. Because that was me. Wounded, guarded, waiting for harm, yet hoping, quietly, for kindness. Marcus looked back at me, a faint smile forming. And in that moment, with the storm still circling, with the past still close, I realized, maybe healing did not arrive all at once. Maybe it came like this, in small trembling steps, in shared silence, in choosing, again and again, to move closer, instead of away. The wind rose once more behind us, stronger, but this time, I did not step back. I stepped forward, closer to him, closer to something. I was finally ready to stop running from. I stepped closer, the damp ground soft beneath my feet, the cold no longer biting as sharply. The small dog pressed into Marcus's hand, trembling easing, inch by inch. He glanced up at me, rain tracing the lines of his face. Looks like he found us. Something about the way he said it, quiet, certain, felt larger than the moment, as if finding each other was never an accident. I knelt beside them, slowly, careful not to startle. The dog's eyes met mine, wide, searching. I recognized that look. Question, will this hurt? My hand hovered, then lowered gently. It is all right, I whispered, my voice softer than I expected, softer than I had allowed it to be in years. The dog leaned in, just a little. Trust again, fragile, alive. Thunder rolled across the sky. Deep, unsettling, but it no longer felt like a threat, more like an echo, fading. Marcus wrapped the dog in his jacket, lifting him with steady care. Let us get back inside. This time, I did not hesitate. The house welcomed us with warmth, dim light, and the quiet rhythm of safety. My son stirred, eyes half open. What happened? Nothing to fear, said, and realized, meant it. Marcus set the dog down near the couch, finding an old towel, drying him with gentle patience. Every movement spoke, not in words, but in presence, in staying. I watched from the doorway, something tightening in my chest, then loosening, 'cause this simple moment, felt like something I had been denied for too long. A life where kindness stayed, where care did not disappear overnight. The dog curled up, exhausted, safe. My son shifted closer to him, small hand resting against warm fur. 2 fragile hearts, finding comfort in each other. Marcus stood, a little unsure again, as if crossing an invisible line. "You should rest," he said quietly, but I stepped forward, closing that distance, on my own terms. "You stayed." The words felt heavier than they sounded. He held my gaze. "Steady, open." I meant what I said. No grand promises. No overwhelming declarations. Just truth. And somehow, that felt stronger. The storm outside softened, rain easing into a quiet fall. But inside me, something continued to build. Not fear, not doubt, something deeper. Quiet courage. Unfamiliar, yet steady. I moved past him, toward the window, looking out into the dark, no longer searching for what might break, but noticing what remained. The house still standing, light still glowing, still here. I wrapped my arms around myself, not out of fear, but to hold that feeling in place. 'Cause I knew, moments like this could change everything, not suddenly, not loudly, but in ways that reshaped how a heart learned to believe again. Behind me, I felt him step closer, not touching, waiting, always waiting for me to choose. And this time, I did not pull away. I let the silence stretch, full, letting it say everything. Words still struggled to form, while somewhere beyond the fading storm, the first hint of something new began to rise quietly, just out of sight, but close enough to feel. The glass cooled beneath my fingertips, a faint fog forming where I breathed. Inside, the rain softened further, dropped slower, like the world exhaling. I stayed there, watching the dark loosen its grip. Behind me, Marcus shifted slightly, the floorboard creaking, a quiet reminder. He was still there, not leaving, not fading, staying. That word settled deeper this time, less frightening, more steady. Turned, slowly, he met my eyes. No urgency, no expectation, just presence. My chest tightened, not with fear, but with something unfamiliar. A need, not desperate, not consuming, just real. "I forgot what this feels like," said, my voice barely above a whisper. He did not ask what, did not interrupt. He understood. Somehow, he always did. The lamp flickered once, then steadied, casting a warm glow across the room. My son shifted in his sleep, murmuring softly, his hand still resting on the small dog, both of them safe. Without question, without doubt, I looked back at Marcus. Everything used to feel temporary. The words came slowly, like stepping across fragile ground, like if I let myself believe in something. Pause, breath catching. It would disappear. The silence that followed felt different, not empty, but full. Marcus stepped closer, just enough. I am still here. No pressure, no promise beyond the moment. And yet, carried weight, because he had been here, again and again, not just tonight, always. A distant rumble rolled through the sky, faint now, almost gone, the storm losing its hold. But inside me, something else held steady, something that refused to fade. Took a breath, deeper than before, letting it settle, letting it stay. Then I did something unfamiliar. I reached out, my fingers brushing his hand, like hesitant, question. He did not rush, did not close the space too quickly. He let me decide, and I did. My hand rested fully in his, warm, grounding, real. The contact sent a quiet shock through me. Not fear, not pain, recognition, like something lost, finally finding its way back. His thumb moved slightly, a small reassuring motion, and that was enough. No grand gestures, no overwhelming closeness, just this, simple, steady, true, the kind of connection that grows, instead of burns out. I felt my shoulders relax, tension I had carried for years, easing without resistance, 'cause for once, I was not bracing for impact, I was standing still, allowing something good to exist, to remain. The room felt warmer, the air softer. Even the silence changed, less guarded, more open. I glanced toward the door, half expecting the world to interrupt. But nothing came. No sudden loss, no breaking moment, just quiet, just presence, just him. I tightened my hold slightly, not out of fear, choice. And as the last trace of the storm faded into the distance, I realized this feeling, this fragile, growing certainty, was no longer something I needed to question. It was something I needed to learn how to keep, even as the night stretched on, and the future waited, unwritten, just beyond the edges of everything I was finally beginning to believe could last. Morning arrived softly, gold light slipping through the curtains, touching everything the storm had left behind. I woke before the others, for once, not from fear, but from stillness. The house felt different, not new, but settled, as if it had accepted us. My son slept peacefully, his arm draped over the small dog, both breathing in quiet rhythm. I stood there for a moment, taking it in. A simple, ordinary miracle. Marcus stepped out onto the porch, coffee in hand, sunlight catching the edges of his tired smile. I joined him. The air smelled fresh, washed clean, full of beginnings. Neither of us spoke at first. Words felt unnecessary. I used to think starting over meant losing everything. I said finally, my voice steady, clear. He looked out at the horizon, then back at me. Sometimes it means finding what was missing. No grand speech, no perfect answer, just truth again. I let it settle. All the miles behind me, all the nights I carried alone, they had not disappeared, but they had led me here, to this porch, this morning. This man who never tried to fix me, only stood beside me, until I found my way back to myself. My son's laughter broke the quiet, bright, alive. He ran outside, the dog close behind, both chasing something only they could see. Marcus watched them, then looked at me, and in his eyes, I saw no promises of forever, only something stronger, the willingness to stay, one day at a time. I reached for his hand, without hesitation now, not because I was afraid to lose him, but because I finally understood. Love is not about holding on out of fear. It is about standing beside someone, freely, honestly, even when the past still whispers. The wind moved gently through the fields, no longer a threat, just a reminder that storms pass, but what we build after is what defines us. I took a deep breath, feeling it fully. No rush, no doubt, just this moment, and the quiet certainty that healing begins when we allow kindness in, that strength grows when we choose trust over fear, and that sometimes the bravest thing a heart can do is stay open long enough for love to find its way home.